Alright, what we got here is the Craftsman YT3000. Had an issue with the tank, and of course on a lot of these tractors, when they sit for too long with no gas in them, and then you go to put gas in them, they crack. So I tried looking up some videos on this damn tractor, and I can't find any videos. As you can see right here, it cracked on the back all the way down, so it will not hold gas. It even has cracked up here. And you know, I made a couple of videos on how to do this, which is kind of the same thing I'm gonna do because I want to save some money. These tanks, I can't seem to find them online. I'm sure you probably can, but I heard that they discontinued a lot of these tanks. That might not be right. You might be able to find the right one. But anyway, I wanted to give you a little video on how to remove this tank because it is a pain in the butt. But it's not that hard. Once I started digging into it, it only took me literally like 5 minutes. So what you have to do is you have to remove the battery box that's in the front. And it's got that little charcoal filter, I guess, for the gas tank or some shit, whatever the hell it's called. And it's all dirty anyway. So I thought I was going to have to remove the steering column, but I did not have to do that. All I had to do was take off the steering wheel and a couple of the bolts. And then down here, once you remove this battery box, you got a 3/8 bolt here and a 3/8 bolt here. You remove that, pull the battery box out, and disconnect the hoses that go to that little charcoal filter thing or whatever that is. And then down in here, as you can see, there is a 1/2 inch bolt here, 1/2 inch bolt here, 1/2 inch bolt here, and then a 1/2 inch bolt here. And on here. And then over here you have right down here where this little bolt is, there's another one that actually connects here. There's a 1/2 inch nut. And then there's also one on this side that you'd be able to see where the hole is right there. So you'd remove that, remove this battery box, and then remove the steering wheel so that you can kind of maneuver this around. You might bend this up a hair, but it ain't going to hurt nothing. That way you ain't got to pull the deck off, pull the steering shaft out. This is kind of probably going to be the easiest way to do it. Now I also remove the seat because there's the seat right over there. The seat's in the way, it's flopping around, it's kind of heavy. It's best to just remove the damn thing, get it out of the way. All you got to really do is take off the two little 1/2 inch nut here and then on that side, and then get you a little flathead and pry this thing off, which is on the back underneath your seat for the safety sensor. It's connected right in here, so you just get a little flathead and pull on the wires, pull that out. We've got the steering wheel here. Remove the cover to the steering wheel so that you can pop this off and get that that nut off of there, which it is a 3/4. And then remove the gas cap, and then you remove the two handles for the deck adjustment and then for the drive on the transmission side. And then once I did all that, I took the bolts off here. There's 4 1/2 inch bolts for the springs. One's for the 2 of them's for the springs for the seat, and then you got another one that just mounts down into this bracket right here. See, it's super dirty in here. So I removed those, and I was able to actually kind of pry this thing up, and then you can see that I used the deck height bracket or whatever it is, and then also that one to kind of lock it into place, and now it stayed up on its own. And you just probably want to be careful. There's a little sensor here for reverse. You don't want to bend that. I'm kind of like maxed out on that. Lucky I didn't break it, but I'm not really worried about that stupid sensor. You could see it's already starting to pull off, so you just want to be careful of that sensor if you're not trying to jack anything up. And then this stupid tank, it sits in here like this. Kind of maneuvers in there. It's kind of stupid how to get it out of there. I don't know why they made it like this. So, well, you get the idea of how it maneuvers in there. So anyway, you maneuver it out, you disconnect, one of these hoses for that that box, that charcoal filter on the battery box, is hooked up to. It was actually snapped off. It was just hanging here. You can see it's just kind of laying there like that. What I'm going to do, maybe you'll get lucky and you'll come across a tank that you can, you know, put in there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do, on one of my other videos, I did a little video on that, how to just replace, you know, or swap it out. Instead of replacing the tank, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a battery back here, and I'm going to extend my battery cables. You got your black one here. I don't think that one will reach, but I'll have to extend that, and it's just grounded down there to the frame down there. So I'm going to get some new cables. You got a little cable here for the solenoid. I'm going to run that down and underneath to the back, and then I'm going to put a battery box, something similar to that. I'll show you that here in a minute. And then the battery will now be relocated, and I won't have to worry about a tank. Plus, it's super expensive, you know. I fix these for a living, so I don't want to put super, you know, amounts of money in here. I can't seem to find that tank anyway. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll show you the tank that I'm going to put in here. Alright, so what you can see here, which is actually pretty cool, this gas tank comes from another Craftsman. You can get this little gas tank offline for 30 bucks on eBay, probably even Amazon, maybe other places too. I think I paid like 25 for this one, free shipping. So the cool thing about this is that, you know, some of these tractors did have the tank in the front and the battery in the back. Well, this is just a different model. They put a fuel pump on it, and they put the battery in the front, the tank in the back, which of course causes problems. So if you're watching this video, that's probably exactly why you're watching it. So put this battery right in here. When everything's all buttoned down, you could see that the bolt holes right there line right up. So I'm just going to put the bolts that were holding that battery box right back in there. I'm going to hook up a gas line straight to it, and that'll be done right there. It'll be simple. It won't even look bad at all. You actually probably won't even be able to tell the difference once it's all cleaned up and done. And then this battery box right here came from one of the Craftsmans that have a battery box in the back. It's a little big hole right here. You're going to have to do some cutting. You know what I mean? It's not going to look that bad. So I'll just have to cut it out a little bit to fit this box, and then run the cables up through underneath and put my battery back here, and it'll be all super cool. The only thing is you got a little hole right here, you know, where the existing, you know, deal was, which a lot of people don't care about them. They're trying to get a, you know, tractor for a good price. It's not even that big of a deal. You could actually find a little tiny cup holder, kind of like this one. Some of the old Craftsmans have a cup holder. I might even have one back there in all my crap over there. So I could put something in there and cover that hole up, and then should be all good. So that's about all you got to do right there. Right here, this piece, when it's mounted up right here, it kind of binds up a little bit, so you got to lift this up off of there a little bit to you know, to kind of jack this thing up a hair. And then so I'll put it all back together, and should be done. And one more thing, if you decide to do what I did and put the tank in the front and build you a little battery box in the back, you could even probably use that and cut some shit out if you're not worried about it, and then use that if you already have it. Then just order a tank. That way you already have a battery box of some sort, and just remove the charcoal filter so it doesn't hit the transmission. You'd probably be alright with that. I have this one, so I'm just going to use it. Your lines right down here, you have that. Let's see if we can pull this out. It's actually the charcoal filter box line. I'm going to rip this out all the way back. It hangs off right there on the side of the tire. I'm going to rip that out, and then also this gas line, which is probably still in good shape. I'm going to take this off and disconnect this and run some of this up to the tank, and then I'm going to discard the rest. So that's what you could do too if you want, unless you can find a tank. So that's it right there, guys. Alright, just real quick. So what I did was I found somebody put this big ass cable on another riding mower that I had back there for parts, and I found it, and I was like, well, no sense of going and wasting money. So I just ran this big cable right here where the gas line went, ran it all the way back here, and I hooked it up in these little clips where the old gas line went to the back of the tank. So it just kind of keeps it all nice and snug, which I'm going to stretch it all out and make it all nice. Just make sure if you do this, excuse me, dipping and spitting. If you do this, make sure you keep everything nice and snugged out of the way. I put a zip tie right down here because you don't want this thing coming and whacking on this. So just make sure when you do all this and you hook up your cables, nothing's going to be hitting anything. You don't want nothing hitting the belts. And that should be good. Now would be a good time, I guess, to check these pulleys too. Make sure they spin while this is all open. So I checked them all. That one up there, I noticed it looked like it had a little bit of stuff taken off of it. And sure enough, it's froze up. So I need to tackle that. Might be worn out. Might need to replace it. I don't know. But that would be shitty if I had to put this together and then had to get back under there and take the deck off to do that. So what I did is I took the other cable, the ground cable. It was hooked up right here. I don't know if it's going to be hooked up in the same spot as your tractor. There's a wire here that has a connector on it. I took out the 1/2-inch bolt down here, pulled it off, took the cable off, put that bolt back in, and brought that cable back here so I didn't have to extend it. Then I bolted it right up to the frame, right here. So you can see it's right there. So I got my cable for the black, I got my red, and then here is the box. Here's the box that's for the thing. I took off that charcoal filter thing. If you cut these sides down, let's see if I can hold this. You cut these sides off right here and maybe cut a little bit of this, you might be able to reuse this. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. You might be able to make something. You just want it to sit down far enough so when the seat goes down, it doesn't hit the battery or nothing like that. So basically, if you do it this way, all you'll really have to do is probably buy you a red cable. You pick it up at O'Reilly's, I'm sure, for 20-30 bucks. And then you can buy that little tank, put that in here, so about 60 bucks, 50-60 bucks, you can fix your tractor. A little bit of work, but you know what I mean, if you're trying to mow and you ain't got the money to afford, you know, to go and buy a whole nother deal, you know, that's the whole point of this video, is that, you know, I don't like to half-ass stuff, but at the same time, you need to save money, and that's what it's all about. So that's why I wanted to make this video, show people that they could do this really simple, save some money. So what I'm going to do is kind of start buttoning everything back up, now that I got my cables ran, and I'm going to show you guys where everything goes back on, you know what I mean, kind of help you out a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so we got the back laid back down on there. I got this all lined back up. So you can see the outside frame. I got the bolts all started in there. Just tighten everything down. Another one back here. Drop my steering wheel. So you get the drift here, and then you got a nut right there, right here, boom, and then you have the nut on this side, same thing, you tighten that down. I got my cable up here, ran up, so when you take off the old cable, the short one, excuse me, I'm trying to hold one hand, do the other thing, so I got this little cable, the original cable that was on here, it has a little red wire coming off of it. You want to snip that, and then cut it right here, and then if you have the cable right here, you're going to need to connect this back up. So you'll need to do that. So we got that bolted down. Come over here. You got your 4 bolts here. Let's put these back on. Lost the bolt again. Tighten that all down. Put your handles back on. Put this handle back on here. Screw it in. And then now we got our cables ran up for the battery. Right there. Got the steering thing back on. I had taken that off. You want to make sure your wheels are straight, your steering wheel's nice and straight. About when you put it on there, make sure it's all nice and alignment. That's what we'll call it. Put the little thing on, put the nut back on, get your big socket. Hopefully it's not just spinning. Sounds like it's just fucking stripping. Oh well, it's on there. You get it. So that's on. And we'll hook up the tank. Alright, here's the tractor all ready to go. All fixed up. One more thing I had to show you guys, just in case you were doing exactly what I did and you have the same deal here. There's a little intake right here that hooks, the carburetor hooks to. There is, sorry my phone's like not focusing correctly. There is a little like vent here for that charcoal filter that was on the battery box. I didn't want any dirt getting in there. I believe it goes right up into here for pressure, probably air, something like that. I'm not really 100% sure what it actually does, but I put a piece of that hose and put a nice snug bolt in there so that this does not get any dirt in here. So this is all completely covered up. Nothing's going to get in there, so that's pretty much it. And then I got the tank right there. Looks all nice. It's holding gas good. Got the battery in it. Can't even tell. The box is all nicely snugged in there. So that's pretty much all you guys got to do if you're having that issue, or unless you're going to just replace the tank, then you just follow the procedures of taking it apart. This is the YT3000 Craftsman. So if you guys enjoyed the video or liked it, shoot me a like and leave a comment, and I'll try to get back to it as soon as I can, man. Thank you very much.